was our top five. Speaking of our top five was from the 80s, right? And later. So speaking of the 80s, in regards to movies and this corona pandemic, recently we just found out that Wonder Woman 1984 was postponed. And also I hear that they're thinking about releasing it on demand.
Right.
Like that's something I read. So that to me is crazy. But real quickly, wanted to point out a few other movies that were pushed back. So the ones that we, at least big blockbuster ones, right? There's been some movies, even though I didn't know James Bond was, did you know James Bond was pushed back in March? Like they pushed it back right away? I didn't even know
Right.
that the
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
day.
It was supposed to come out. I thought it was a summer movie, right?
Yeah, but you know what?
Um,
Honestly, the James Bond movies, they just come out and then I'm like, oh, it's out. I don't
yeah.
know how many people
I,
really
I, I
anticipate
I
them as
think
that.
one of those. Well, no, no, no. I disagree. Well, maybe I'm coming at it from like a fan's
I'm talking about
perspective.
me. I'm talking about
Yeah,
me.
from a fan's perspective, I feel like no matter the month that it comes out, the fans are gonna go watch it, right? So, because usually
And
people
I'll
like,
watch it.
yeah, people usually target the summer months because that's when most people are gonna come out and see stuff. They're like, oh, no
Yeah.
one's gonna come out in March or October. Doesn't matter when you release a 007 movie, people are gonna come out and see it. So I think that's one
And
of
this was
those
supposed to be Daniel
calculations.
Craig's final movie, right?
It
As
is, yeah.
007
Adds a
before
bit of
Idris
weight to
Elba.
it before you
Did
just
we
it.
did we discuss Idris Elba becoming James Bond?
No, we
I think we did on
didn't.
no on the first episode maybe.
I don't
No,
believe we did. No.
where where did you ever see Trevor Noah when he talked about it?
Mm-mm.
So Trevor Noah's like he's like, look, he basically was saying like we get representation. But there's just certain parts of the world where Idris Elba can't be a super spy who blends in, like he can't go to Ireland and then, he's like, how do you keep seeing me? How do you figure out it's me? Or so.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you guys never seen that, you guys should watch it because it's actually really funny. It's one of his stand-ups. I forget which one, but also along with Wonder Woman 1984 is we talked about last week about how Marvel kept Black Widow finally got pushed back, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you suspected it was. I felt like it was. I just didn't see them coming out with in this. I know they were kind of paying attention to like Tenet and all that stuff, and they saw Tenet just didn't do that great. So, but also the Batman with what's his
Robert
name?
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson, which honestly, that is one of those movies that kind of did to what Mulan did to me, which is kind of I saw the preview and I was like, you know what, I want to watch that movie because that DC is dark, really dark, but to me, Batman is one of those characters that it should be a dark thing.
Mm-hmm.
It should just be dark. But the Batman got pushed back, and then also another movie that I was really excited about seeing, so excited that I started reading the book over again in anticipation for the movie. So now I'm okay with it because now I'm grateful because now I get more time to read the book, which was Dune.
Mm-hmm.
Also got pushed back, which I was looking forward to. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no. I had a roommate back when I was living in Northern Virginia, who swears by Dune. Says that it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. None of this other stuff like Star Wars and that stuff would be possible without Dune, which is probably true. Um,
Sure.
but I never really got the hype around it. So when I saw that they're doing a remake, I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it a shot. We'll see. So
Dune,
so
if you've seen the 1980s one, which I haven't, but if you've seen the 1980s one, just based off of when it was released, I knew that it was there was just some books that had to wait
mhm.
for this time to be released
I will
because
say something about movies, like old movies, and not having the CGI or whatever to properly tell that story. I was actually really impressed the very first time I watched the original Star Wars trilogy. I think in uh I was in 11th grade when I first watched it, right? And this is in anticipation for episode 3 coming out. I'd seen episodes 1 and 2, but never seen the original trilogy. I'd always heard about Luke, I am your father, spoiler alert. But I'd never actually seen it. So this time I took the opportunity to watch them, and I was expecting it to be complete trash as far as like special effects go. I thought George Lucas found really creative ways to do certain space related things. So yeah, I mean, old
as,
movies can do it too.
Yeah, as far as old school movies, to me, Star Wars. So there's some movies that just don't stand the test of time,
Mhm.
right? Even then, I would have been like, I probably wouldn't have cared for it.
Tron looks
One of
bad.
the Tron, yes, Tron. Now Tron Legacy, one of my favorite movies. Honestly, as soon as I had Disney Plus, I watched that one again. That was just one of those like that, along with the greatest animated movie of all time, a Goofy movie, which Zeno is going to come around to eventually. Look, don't be jealous just because Goofy got some, okay?
Hey, Goofy
But
got some. Give him
but
props.
Tron, but the original Tron, and then also Superman. Superman, the original, the first movie, I saw it and I was like, yo, this movie is not standing the test of time to me. Because it was just like there's just some movies that had to wait. Like for example, another movie that got pushed back was the Avatar sequels, which honestly at this point is
Yeah,
really anybody really waiting for those?
I don't know why James Cameron thought people were asking for it. Like,
I mean, you got to give a sequel if you have the highest grossing film of all time up until Avengers came out. But you like this whole waiting like 30 years for it to come out, that's just too much. You
yeah,
just
I
no
mean,
that
it's like waiting 30 years for a sequel to, let's be honest, it was an okay movie. It won all those huge awards, and I think it was more from a technical standpoint. I won all those huge awards almost for the same reason that I gave you as to why I thought Game of Thrones was the best TV show. Not necessarily from a storytelling standpoint, because it did have high points there, but storytelling standpoint, it really fell off. But as far as like on the production value level, on a technical level, it was the best TV show. And I think maybe that's why they were giving Avatar all those awards, because of all the stuff they were able to accomplish with 3D. Because 3D movies had been happening before, but Avatar really like tapped into that and like made it.
Avatar wasn't a 3D movie original.
Yeah, it
Avatar, what they
was.
did is they went back. Avatar came out when 3D movies were starting to get, which I'm glad because I loved Avatar in regards to the special effects and all that stuff, and I rewatch it for that main reason, especially anytime you get a big ass TV. That's one of those movies that you want to watch for the first time on your big ass TV. But Avatar actually came out prior to 3D, really starting to get get big, 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 and then they went back and redid some. Yeah, he
Wait,
went
no,
back
no,
and
hold
did.
on. Are you saying that the original release of Avatar in theaters was not
Yeah,
3D? No,
no,
incorrect. I watched it. I watched the original release in
I
theaters
watched,
when I went to visit my brother in
and you know what?
DC,
I didn't watch
and
it in 3D.
I watched it in 3D. The original release. I'm telling you, it was filmed natively for 3D IMAX, and and it got all those accolades because of how well they had used the 3D. Because prior to that, they had been 3D. You know, you wear the blue and red glasses or whatever, and it was cool. It's like Lava Boy and Shark Girl, those type of movies. But
So like I was saying, Avatar is the first full-length 3D IMAX feature film. Zeno, you were wrong. It is the first 3D film. I'm
okay,
I'm trying to remember which movie. Then there was a movie that came around that time that they took it back to
that that they
redo.
that they retconned it to 3D basically, right? Like it wasn't
What do you know
filmed.
which one it was?
I don't know, but I know they did that with a lot of movies when once they saw how well
How big
Avatar
3D?
did.
You
Yeah,
know what? Now I think it was Transformers 3.
it could be. Yeah.
Transform No, it was Transformers 3 because I remember me and my friend were talking about that. So you're right, but I still didn't see Avatar in 3D in 3D, but
Yeah.
but I think the one thing about if you ever watch some of the movies that might have like certain sections were filmed in 3D versus some weren't. One that I can tell you is like that was the Harry Potter, one of the Harry Potter movies.
Mhm.
It makes the actual 2D film look a lot better. I don't know
Really?
yeah, to me it does. So that's the reason why I like Avatar. I like Avatar because I feel like getting shot in 3D makes it come off the screen a lot better, even if you're not watching it in 3D. Because honestly, to me, 3D is nothing. Honestly, it's nothing special.
Yeah. I mean, it was a. I don't want to call it a gimmick, but it kind of was a good gimmick. In like like 2009, 2010, when like it was getting that resurgence.
Yeah,
But then some movies just like overdid it,
yeah.
and it just never came out that well.
But yeah, I remember we talked about Transformers 3 because we both asked like, did you see the freaking difference? Because I watched it both ways. I suffered it through once. I shouldn't have suffered it through twice, but I did. But
Uh, Sorry. I just remembered one. Um, 300. But
Yes.
yeah, 300. I saw it
Yeah.
in 3D. No, was it 300 or
No,
the
no,
sequel to 300?
Immortals. Immortals was Immortals.
Immortals might have been, but the sequel to 300 is the one I saw in
Yes, that
3D
one because 300 wasn't out when the original
when
3D
Avatar
was.
came out. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it was the Rise of an Empire.
yeah.
And
Rise of
I
an Empire.
remember specifically watching that in 3D because there's a scene where a horse, the guy is riding a horse, and it goes into the water, and the horse rides itself back out of water, and it's like all of this is coming at your face, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
like, why are they doing this?
That's what I'm saying. Like Transformers 3D, like in 3D, there was no point in it. It was just to get extra money. Honestly, this is you like you charge an extra like what $4, $5 to watch it like that. You get money back or whatever.
Right.
So it was that one wasn't no, that wasn't. But actually, I will say one thing: if you get a chance to go to Disney World and you get on the Avatar ride, there's an Avatar ride. That one is honestly so it's a 3D ride, but that's how I kind of sense that they kind of want to make movies become. So if you ever get a chance to go to Disney World, remember what I said, you can wear your mask. Like it's fun with social distancing. Even it's better actually because there's less lines. But the way they did it because they have you sitting on like a motorcycle like item, and what it is you're an avatar, so you're riding one of the
Like
flying
those
dragons.
dragon thingies,
Yeah, dragon looking things. You're riding one of those, so it's going like that, and it's honestly one of the coolest rides out there. And funny enough, I would say the only one that's better than it that I've been on was actually a regular old fashioned roller coaster, which was like a one of like for Mount Everest, whatever. So anyways, you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about because you haven't been on these rides.
It sounds amazing.
But no, they are. They really are. They're fun as hell. But honestly, the way they did that ride, the Avatar ride, I kind of sense that that's the way that they want to do 3D film because they 4D. They kind of try to work with 4D, but there's not really a good way for them to do that yet. But it's
coming. They would have to like retrofit a lot of theaters to have like the vibrating in the seats and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a lot for little payback, right? Because in order to make that investment, you have to believe that those theaters would be packed, and I'm not so sure that that's going to be the case. But
I have a feeling that they are going to start putting more money into that kind of stuff because of the fact they need to get the theaters packed again. Because a lot of theaters are not going to make it back. And Regal and AMC I think they're scared because they're thinking they might go bankrupt because of this.
Yeah. We went really far off topic with delayed.
Yeah, we did. I know.
So one thing I wanted to talk about is we had mentioned a bunch of Warner Brothers movies, right? Wonder Woman, Dune, Batman. Which, by the way, Batman's getting like Oscar buzz off of a trailer. It's
really
kind of stupid that's the case. I wanted to. The reason why I brought up that we talked about a lot of Warner Brothers movies is that another big Warner Brothers movie that's coming out is the Solo Flash movie, right? Which is gonna be sort of based off of the Flashpoint storyline. Anyone who's familiar with that knows it's the one where Barry Allen ends up going into like an alternate timeline and meeting a different Batman who's like Thomas Wayne. Spoiler alert. But the news coming out of production for that movie is that they're gonna have 3 different Batmen in there, right? They're gonna have Michael Keaton, they're gonna have I think Christian Bale, and they're gonna have Ben Affleck. Maybe
really Christian Bale doesn't look like he'd do that.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things like, hey, it's like a nice little cameo, fan service type of thing, right? So that's really DC's way of doing like the multiverse, like introducing the multiverse. Especially when you have all these you have 2 people playing the Joker, Jared Leto and Joaquin Phoenix. You have 2 Batman in this current extended universe. So it's their way of being like, hey, all of you directors, you have autonomy. Do whatever you want. We'll just write it off as the multiverse. The reason I bring that up is because Marvel might actually beat them to the punch in that. First with this
Spider-Man.
No, with WandaVision, which is basically So if you didn't watch Endgame and Infinity War, again, why? So Vision died in Infinity War, right? And Wanda is in a state of despair and all that stuff. And the premise is that she brings back Vision in Wonder Vision in like this because she's a magic being, right? Um, in her depression or whatever, she brings back Vision, but he's not really supposed to be there, and it's like it's tearing a fabric in the universe, right? And there's supposed to be movies after that deal with the multiverse. Yeah, the multiverse event that comes from that Disney Plus show, including Spider-Man, which is said to have the other two Spider-Men in it, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, and also Jamie Foxx, who played Electro in the Andrew Garfield movie. So that's going to be their multiverse thing, and then it's supposed to all culminate with Doctor Strange's sequel, which is called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The reason why that's important is because they have basically preempted Warner Brothers' multiverse plan because they have to push all their movies back. And Marvel's like, okay, we're going to slide this right in and make people think we were the first to do the multiverse thing.
We got Disney Plus. Screen. We got Disney Plus. We can release.
Yeah, and it actually really sucks for Warner Brothers because it was kind of their original idea to go this route with it, and then Kevin Feige was like, "Oh, really? We can do that too." And also they kind of introduced the multiverse idea in Spider-Man: Far From Home, where Mysterio is kind of talking about it, even though if you've watched that movie, you know that it's not quite what he says it is. But at least they've introduced the idea that that could be a thing. So Marvel's going full steam ahead with that. So,
well, and they've also kind of already done it, right? I mean, what's it called? Into the Spider-Verse. Technically speaking,
but I mean, but that's
even though it's not an MCU movie, but it's a Marvel movie.
It's a Sony movie.
No, but it's a Marvel comic movie. It's from the Marvel comics, and a lot of people, because the thing is, though, a lot of people are connecting those together. Like
they're talking about possibly having a cameo for Jake Johnson.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and then they're also
Peter B. Parker.
And then a lot of people were thinking that they're probably there's a possibility that they might have like a little section where Tom Holland becomes animated and is in the anime is, you know what I mean? So there's like, I think they've already kind of have beaten them. Yeah. They just got lucky that it happened to be what's it called?
Pandemic.
Sonny that did it. And then,
Sony, yeah.
But Tom Holland's kind of convinced Sonny to realize, hey, seriously, you're being Dr. Evil right now. Like, why make billions when I can make millions? It's like, no, just align yourself with MCU and just you'll be good. You'll make a good amount of money.
I appreciate Tom Holland for being very vocal about that and like saving that that partnership.
Yeah, yeah. I wish Andrew Garfield had been like that instead of being late to movies or to premieres and getting fired, because I actually prefer me and you have had this discussion before, so me and Zino completely disagree on the two Spider-Man. I honestly think that Andrew Garfield is, to me, the best Spider-Man, not the best Peter Parker, but the best Spider-Man. But I'll give Tom Holland's the best. Yeah, and Spider-Man, if you watch Spider-Man, Spider-Man's a smartass. He's a bit of a jackass.
No, Spider-Man, yes, he's I don't know if I would call him a smartass, but I mean, he can be like, he's quippy. That's the word. Like he does a lot of like quips and stuff. But I don't know if asshole is where Spider-Man should be going. But I mean, I remember that scene in the Amazing Spider-Man where he's like toying with that one bad guy that he's already caught, and I'm like, all right, dude, like, you've got superpowers. This guy has a knife. Like, chill out, bro. Like, you haven't done anything that's...
With great power comes great chances of being a jackass. Yeah. So anyways, but we really did go off topic on this.
Do we have anything to add about postponements?
Yes, I do. One quick thing, tying back to my Disney trip and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I will say one thing. One cool aspect of Into the Spider-Verse was, so there's this black kid walking past me, right? And he was wearing a Spider-Man outfit, but he didn't have a hat on. He just had the Spider-Man outfit, right? And so I said, "What up, Miles?" And then he was like, He's like, oh, hey, yeah. He was like, joking because I'm pretty sure he just was thinking Spider-Man or Peter Parker. He would have responded that quicker. But then I told my friend, I was like, you know what? It's actually really cool that a black guy can be Spider-Man. Dominican kid like my son can be a Spider-Man. Half Dominican kid can be. And it's just one of those things that it's just kind of like, it's pretty cool,
We lost your camera for a second, but
I know
I heard everything you said.
I have some friends calling me right now.
Okay.
That want to talk real fast, but I'm doing the show. So
Okay.
you got people. You take precedent, people.
One thing I wanted to add about your Spider-Man comment. Stan Lee, I believe, mentioned what he liked so much about the character. Yeah. Saying that he basically said that what he likes about the character is that Spider-Man could be anyone. He's like an everyman type of dude, especially with the mask on. It could be anyone behind the costume, and he likes that so many people have embraced it from all walks of life. So yeah, that speaks exactly to what you were talking about with little Miles over there that you met.
He was about 24. He wasn't little.
Oh. Little by comparison. All right.
Anyways,
I think that wraps up our entertainment section. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.